In an emergency, your heart changes its heartbeat, the chemistry in your brain changes. I think there's a physiological thing that happens that does not allow you to operate the way you would normally operate. And that's where preparedness is going to save your butt, or your butt, or their butt.
Right.
Someone's butt's getting saved. Welcome to Season 2.
Another episode from TeamMSRV, where we show you how to live a more fulfilling life through our adventures and our experiences.
That's right, giving you the confidence and knowledge you need to create your own path and navigate your way through this disease. Don't forget, as a team, we got this. Today's video, we're going to talk about emergencies. They happen to everyone. They're not expected. They're never planned. And you need a plan in place, in my opinion.
I feel like if you do plan something, it's better because you're prepared and you can just grab that bag that it's prepared.
Right, in an emergency, you're already freaking out. Like there's something that's going on that is above and beyond normal. So you're already in panic mode. How do you expect to remember everything?
You can't.
So first thing we did for today's episode, we put together a list.
Yes.
Of things that you should kind of have put together, maybe in a bag, maybe in a corner near the door, just maybe it's in the trunk of your car already.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Right, just something so that you know you have 90% of the things you need already in that bag, so you're prepared for the doctors or the police or whatever it may be.
Yeah, okay. So the first thing on the list is a snack.
Yep, snacks for sure. I mean, because you don't know how long you're going to be in a waiting room or in a car.
Right. And then also clothes, like maybe a set of clothes if you have to stay overnight, or
especially underwear and like undergarments, more important than anything. I mean, sure, you can wear the jeans and a t-shirt or whatever twice, even 3 days in an emergency.
They normally like give you a Johnny's when you're at the
hospital.
Hospital, so yeah.
But your underwear, you want that to be pretty fresh.
Yes, yes. So
that's a good thing to pack.
Right. The third thing on the list, we said it's water. I mean, I know that the hospital has water, but if you're in a ER room and you're thirsty, you have a bottle of water, you could just drink.
You're not waiting for the rotating nurse.
Right.
But also, an emergency doesn't always mean the hospital. No. An emergency might mean I have to go home right now. When we say emergencies, I know you're talking about the hospitals because that's our experience.
Yes.
But this applies to all emergencies, in my opinion. Okay, let's keep going down that list.
Okay, medication. I mean, when you go to the ER, I talk about the ER because that's what happened. I have a medication list in my purse, so Frankie doesn't have to like remember all the medication I take. It's there.
I couldn't remember all the medications you
No.
take. And then when we had an emergency, which we'll get into a little bit later, I couldn't think of not one medication except the Ocrevus. That was the only one I can remember.
Yeah, and there was a lot more.
And I know most of them, but I can't remember all of them. And when your brain is scattered, that's what happens. And you don't want to say the wrong information because medication is important.
Right, and that emergency that we're going to talk about is I couldn't even help him.
You couldn't even speak?
No.
Right.
So, yeah.
You want to say how much you're taking of that med and how often you're taking it.
Yes.
Like as prescribed, because you want to make sure that they're not giving you a medication in an emergency that would interact with one of those negatively and hurt you.
Right.
Possibly.
Yes.
So that's the important part of that.
That's good.
Let's keep moving down that list.
Okay. Maybe a medication, real medication. You could have, if you have extra, to put it on in a little bag or a little jar for like 1 to 3 days that you have extra.
I mean, there's days, I know it's bad, but it's true. You're a human being.
You forget. Right. Because the pharmacy that I use is Walgreens, and it always tells you, okay, you're due for this medication. Do you want me to refill it? And I'm like, sure, but I still have extra, you know.
Yeah, because
I forget.
You missed a couple of days, or you were feeling really good and you didn't think you need it and you don't want the chemicals in your body.
Right.
There's all different reasons, but whatever excess you have, maybe put in that little kit or that little getaway bag so you have something on hand. I know your medication itself should always be within reach, and if you're running out the door, like you have your weekly box that has your days in it, that should be something you would grab and just go into your bag on the way out.
On the way out.
Like your keys. You want to grab your medication like your keys. You don't want to leave and then not know when you're coming back and not
Right.
have your meds. If you can have your excess with you when you don't have anything,
That would be good to have.
it's that much better that you're going to feel.
That's true. It's also good to have a note that says your emergency contact, a phone number, the person's name. If, like me, it's Frankie, but if he's not around, I have it on the list and they could look and see, okay, we're gonna call this person.
Right, it would be first me, and then it would say that
Mom.
I'm spouse,
Yeah.
and then it would have my phone number, so they know the relationship too.
Yes.
And then the next one, if I'm unavailable or if I don't answer for some reason, would be your mom.
Yeah.
And then it would say mother and then her phone number. And then have a list of 3 people that you would want to know if you were having a crisis that you couldn't speak for yourself,
Yes.
or you're unconscious and you need someone by your bedside to help you make decisions maybe, or just for moral support sometimes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you get like into a car accident and you can't move, you have that list in your purse.
It's already there.
Yes, it's already there, so they'll be able to. They have to look and see if you can't talk. And then we also have. It's good to have the doctor list, the
Yes.
phone number.
That's true, especially your primary care.
Yes.
And in your case, you're a neurologist,
Yeah.
or whoever your specialist may be. If you're MS, like we think you are, probably, it's going to be a neurologist.
Yes.
But whoever your specialist is for your sickness.
Yeah, because when I went to the ER, that we're going to talk about later, is they asked me who my primary care doctor, but they also wanted to know like who is my neurologist.
Yes.
And I didn't have the list then when that happened. Now we're all set
That's
up.
how this episode came to
Yeah.
be, because of our experience.
Yes. So now I have the list, and instead of trying to say their last name, I just give them the list with the phone number, and then they're able to.
This is the
Reach.
the
Yeah.
office they work at. This is their name. This is the phone number.
Yes.
And this is their relationship to me, primary care or whatever, nutritionist, whatever.
And another list is allergies. It's good to have the list of your allergies, especially if it's like really bad. You don't want them to give them your medication that makes you
Have hives
or
closes up your breathing,
Right.
your airway. Yeah,
yeah. So it's good to have a allergy list.
that's good. And on that list, you should put food allergies and medication allergies.
Yes.
Both of them, because sometimes some medications may have a food allergy tied to it. Isn't there one that has like a shellfish allergy? Oh no, it's the vaccines and chickens. That was the thing. Like if you have a problem with eggs,
the flu shot.
you can't get.
The flu shot.
So there's
yeah.
a perfect example of why it's important.
Yeah. That's good.
This can all be one list.
Right.
Your medication list, your doctor's list, your contact list, all in like one little piece of paper. Maybe you print it out on a computer so it's neat, it's easy to read, and it's
Yes.
organized. You can organize it nicely, fold it up nicely. You know, you could do chicken scratch with your hand too, but try to write as neat as possible, or have someone with good handwriting do it for you. Because if you're not able to read it, you want the emergency person to be able to understand
Yes.
what it says.
It's true.
Another one that's a pretty important thing to have in that bag. A lot of people have secondary glasses, or they have like an extra pair of contacts. I would say stuff that in that bag too.
Yeah.
Not your main pair, because obviously you need those every day.
Right.
And this bag the idea is to sit in a corner or sit somewhere out of the way and forget about it unless you need it in an emergency.
Yeah, just like an old pair of glasses that you don't use anymore.
It
It's
might
like
be bent.
crooked, or
Who
put
cares?
that in there, because if you forget yours and like if you go to the emergency room, you have contacts in, and then they're starting to bother you. You want to take your contacts out, and you still want to see, so you have this bag with your old glasses.
Yeah, maybe wrapped up in a towel, like a little
Right.
hand towel, which is nice to have too because of messes. You know, you never.
Yeah, we always for glasses. We always get like new cases, so you have an extra case, so you could just put your glasses in there and put it in the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all good. And all of these things in this bag are there to help you make your life better
In an emergency.
during that crisis.
Yes.
Your comfort bag, right? You're a little chilly. You have a sweater in there. You have a
Right.
new pair of socks, maybe. A fresh pair of socks is always good.
Yeah.
It makes your feet feel fresh.
It
You'll have
is.
your medications. If you have any extra, you'll have your list of doctors, medications, contacts. Also, I think we missed one where you should have, if your emergency is at home, You want your standard, this is the hospital I go to. These are the doctors I see.
Yes.
Don't bring me to this hospital, bring me to that one because they know me.
Yes.
That's good information.
That is. And then we'll talk about why we said that, which hospital you want to go to if you have an emergency. You want to start with that one?
We can start talking about why and how all this came to be, because we have had 2 experiences now, maybe more, but 2 really good ones. I say good meaning they were very bad. It was a bad experience for us, that we were ill prepared. We were not ready for, and I felt like, man, things would have been so much better if we just had a little bit of a plan in place.
Yeah. Okay, so I got out of work. I was having maybe some pain in my head.
Normal headache stuff,
Yeah.
you know, like you always have.
Like, get out of work, you're stressed out, you just, okay, another headache or migraine. And then we started watching, what was the show?
So yeah, we were watching Jerry Seinfeld.
I feel like I started laughing, it was funny.
Well, it was normal in the beginning,
Yeah.
but then he started saying some jokes and I was laughing and I noticed like you weren't laughing. And I didn't say anything the first time and I was like, okay, maybe she didn't understand what he said, or maybe like she was thinking about something.
Right.
Then he said something else that added to it and it made it really funny. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, she's not even laughing. This is good. He's doing good. And then the third one, he said, I don't remember what the joke was, but he went over the top with it. And the audience was going nuts and you're just like staring at the screen. And I was like, what the heck is the matter with you, right? I was like, what the heck are you doing?
And I was like, I don't know.
I don't feel good. And I was like, what the? This isn't funny to you? Like I said that, like, this isn't funny. And you were like, I don't know. I don't feel that good. And I was like what? And you're like, my face is tingling.
Yeah, and then I went to the bathroom. And when I came back, like, I couldn't even speak after that.
You were having a little bit of trouble, like, slurring. And I was like, you know what? Maybe you go sit in the car right now. Because I didn't know what was happening.
Right.
And I didn't know she was going to, like, pass out. And, like, the car was a long way from where we were. So I was like, while you're able to walk, why don't you go sit in the car and wait? And I'll lock up the house and we got to go.
Yeah.
We weren't prepared for that.
Mm-mm.
I didn't expect that. And this is our first MS emergency, like, while you're post-diagnosis.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I guess it's more my perspective because you were kind of, like, out of it at the moment. By the time I got to the car, I didn't have anything. I didn't have any of the stuff on that list that we're talking about.
No.
I had me, and I think I made sure I had our insurance cards and stuff. And I got in the car, and I called 911 because I thought you were having, like, a stroke.
Yeah, because when you get to the car, you said, like, I wasn't able.
You weren't able to speak. You weren't able to lift your head. Your head was, like hanging down. It was like you were, like, having a stroke or something. I mean, like, everything I know of a stroke is what I'm witnessing.
Yeah.
So I called 911 while we were driving.
Right.
And we had to make a choice. First of all, well, you didn't, I did. We had to make a choice of which hospital to go to. Because where we lived, it was 1 hour or 45 minutes one way or 45 minutes the other way to 2 separate different hospitals.
Right.
And I'm trying to talk to 911 on the phone while I'm speeding towards the hospital. And I was like, because there was another town in between us and the hospital, and I was like, have the ambulance meet us in that town.
Right.
And they did. They were able to, they stopped at an open area. I was able to pull over right next to them. We were able to switch you, and they're like, what kind of medications is she on? I was like, a lot. And they're like, well, what's some of them? And I was like shaking. I was panicking at that moment. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. And I was freaking out.
And I had the medication list in the car, but he didn't know that it was there.
And she couldn't speak.
No.
Or nothing. So now tell them, like, your perspective from that.
So I was trying to, like, I feel like I was hearing them, but nothing was coming out. And then I was like, it was hard. It was an awful feeling because you're in your body, but you can't speak. You can't say anything. You can't even move. Like, I feel like they had a hard time getting me out of the car.
It was hard.
because
Yeah, there was EMTs, there was police, there was all kinds of people involved, and I kind of backed it. Like, they had it. There was no space for me to even help them. And like, yeah, they had to come on. You were like limp.
I remember when they started driving into the hospital, the EMT was trying to talk to me. And when I was trying to speak, it was like, ugh.
That's what it was.
And,
like mumbles.
And I was like, in my head, I know what I was saying. But when it was coming out, it was like, ugh. And I was like, what is going on?
And we had no idea what was happening.
Yeah, because I remember the EMT calling the hospital saying possible stroke. And I kind of got freaked out when I heard that.
Well, yeah, because we didn't know. So I was outside waiting. Once I arrived there, I just parked and I heard nothing for like 2 hours.
And I was in an ER, and I remember like someone that I work with, she knew me because they were saying, oh, COVID, like they thought I had COVID or something. But the lady that I work with, she says, oh no, she's fine. Because she knew that I worked there.
Yeah, you were working that day, right?
Right. And she knew, she's like, no, she's fine. So now they were able to do the other test that trying to figure out what was happening with me. So they did some tests.
Yeah, when you told me, I think they did CAT scans and MRI. They did all these scans and they did these things. But by that time, like as time progressed, you started coming out of it.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Until you were just practically like normal. And that's when the doctor came out.
Yeah, I remember when I started to like get better and the doctor came, he's like, oh, look at you all peppy and talking. And he was asking me questions that I guess I couldn't answer before.
Probably not, yeah.
And then he's like, okay. And I remember we were going to get an MRI and I started to get better. And he's like, oh, you might not even need an MRI. But I know they did a CAT scan.
That was for sure the CAT scan.
And the blood work and the EKG they did.
Yep.
And
so yeah, that was, we wish we had the bag. When you came out of there, you were starving. We were thirsty. We wish we had the snacks and the water, and we didn't. So that's where that list came from. I, as caretaker or husband, was completely unprepared, completely blindsided by the emergency, right? I mean, like I knew that it could happen anytime, but you just don't think it's gonna happen. You always think that, she's doing great, she's doing fine. But then that was just, I mean, you were having a hard time at work. Work was pushing you really hard at that time.
It was stressful.
You were under a lot of stress. It was like newly diagnosed, still within the first 6 months. That's just how all businesses operate. And that's why we're advocates of, if you don't feel good, you stay home.
You stay home, yeah.
Because that job's not going to be there for you when you're 65 years old. They're not going to be there to say, oh, let me take care of that pain in your shoulder. They're not going to do none of that. No. They're going to be counting their money in some exotic area.
And it's weird because I thought that it was like a family where we were working because they were so close.
Small
but
town.
It's really just, I was just a number. Because when my number wasn't able to perform what they wanted,
goodbye.
They kind of got.
Family medical leave laws, they waited to the day to legally fire her.
Yeah.
The day. So from my caretaker perspective of the emergency thing, like I just said, for me, it's so simple. For most people, it's very simple to go to the emergency room. Very little allergies, very little medications. You know, normally you can get in there. But with MS, you have an extensive list of medications. Some you take daily, some you take as needed, some you don't take unless you absolutely need it in an emergency.
Yeah.
I can't remember all of those. And that's not that I don't want to, it's that they change. Like, Emgality is not even one you're on no more. It took me a month to learn how to say it the right way.
Now it's a different one.
And now it's a different one, and another one that with the emergency, right? You have that, you had like your primary migraine medicine plus your emergency one that backs you up.
Yeah.
So now you have two different ones. So your medications are changing often. So that's complicated for me. So for me, having you write it down and keeping that list up to date while you feel good makes my life better, and it makes it easier for me to help you in an emergency. best thing you can do and be prepared so you don't panic. If you have a plan, you're not going to panic, right?
That's true. Yes.
And I would say that that's a good way to wrap it up. Have your plan and stick to the plan once the emergency starts.
Yes.
And just trust that your plan is going to work for you.
And if it doesn't work for you, then the next time you could set it up the right way.
Modify it a little bit.
Yes, modify. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, change it just enough that it does work for you. Because someone with 3 kids at home is very different than someone with no kids at home versus someone who lives in a nursing home, right? These are all different scenarios, but all 3 of those categories can have the same type of emergency where they need to get to a hospital right now. I would say the person in the nursing home has the best chance because they have the nursing home crew that has their med list, their allergy list, they have all the stuff we're talking about already in order.
Yes.
So I think that that's all important stuff to do. And I think once you stick to your plan with the right information and the right stuff, you'll find your emergencies are more of a inconvenience. Learn from our experiences of not being prepared and me freaking out being that panicker guy.
And me not able to help him.
You were jello, like jello.
Yes.
So that's why. So who's planning for that? Nobody.
Nobody. It's true.
So you need to make a plan for it.
Yes.
All right. See you guys. Thanks for taking the time to watch our video. Your views, likes, and shares are very important to our success.
And make sure you show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing. As always, 25% of our earning goes to an MS charity that you help choose. And maybe we can help each other.
Maybe anything is possible.
We'll see you next time.